Hey everybody, Kent Martz here. Thank you for joining us on Explore Alliance. I have no idea of what episode this is. And with me today, we have the company founder and president, Scott Roberts. Hey Scott, how you doing? Is and with me today, we
I'm
have
good.
the company founder and president, Scott Roberts. Hey, Scott, we're getting a double echo here. And with me today,
We're
I'm
hearing your
good.
audio, I think, Scott.
Scott Roberts. Hey, Scott, we're getting a double echo.
Okay, I think that might be better.
There you go.
How's that? Is that better?
That's better. Yes, indeed. What's been going on, Scott? Staying busy.
Uh,
Not hard.
well, we're just it's busier than ever here at Explore Scientific, and we've been running around getting stuff ready for the eclipse. We're getting ready for um, the Starmus conference in Yerevan, so that's happening. I'll be leaving for
When
that
is that?
soon.
It's in September.
Yeah, it's September 5 through 10, but I actually show up there earlier. I leave the end of this month, and we get ready to do an astrophotography workshop. And, I'm going to be highlighting some astrophotographers who use Explore Scientific equipment. Um, so it's been a nice challenge. I find it much more satisfying to talk about people who use our stuff than just me talking about me or my gear. So I like to show what it does, and I really like to highlight the people who do it. So that's kind of the thrust of what I'm doing with that. Um, we are also sponsors of another distant event that takes place tomorrow. It is the first international conference with the astronomy outreach of Kosovo with Pramvera Hysini, and they've got professional astronomers and scientists and people coming in from Europe and the United States for this thing. So it's the first one ever they've ever had like this, and so it's getting the attention of the government, and so it's just it's really incredible to see that all come together. Then we've got the Arizona Dark Sky Star Party, which is the 21st, the 25th of September, and then we get the Mount Wilson astronomy event that we're doing in early October. So very busy getting all that stuff ready, and plus just trying to keep everything else rolling here at Explore Scientific.
Right. And we're spending a lot of time talking about the eclipse, the annular eclipse of 2023 and the total eclipse in 2024. That's a huge event, and we're gearing up with plans for astronomy outreach or astrophotography outreach to get people ready to take pictures of a lifetime with a solar safe film of both of those eclipses and eclipse classes and everything else. So those are going to start rolling out here pretty soon. We look forward to getting ahead of the curve. And my advice to people is go buy your eclipse glasses now. They'll be good in a year and a half and 2 years.
Yeah, put them in a safe place away from humidity and stuff like that, and just
right.
Like you would any kind of optical equipment, and get them ready for use when it's ready. Don't, just like Ken says, do not wait just a few weeks thinking, I'll procrastinate here and I'll get my eclipse glasses 6 weeks before the event. That should be enough time. That is not enough time. Okay. What will happen is that when the media gets a hold of this and starts pumping information about the eclipse, and this is going to be the greatest land-based, eclipse in the United States, more than double the number of people that saw the 2017 eclipse are going to go see this one. And so, and it's just going to be utter mayhem. So get your glasses while they're at the low price, okay? Because resellers jack the prices up on eclipse glasses. We saw that we saw eclipse glasses that would sell for, I don't know. I mean, we're selling like 4 pair for 10
Couple of
bucks.
bucks.
So,
Right.
I
so
took a
yeah, $2, $2.50, $3 for a pair of eclipse glasses.
we
We
took
saw them sell for $20 a pair, $100 a pair, $500 for a pair.
we've got
And this is a paper eclipse glass. So it's like, with the right film and everything in it. The other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you're buying from a trusted, authorized source. And so we're going through all the process right now of recertifying all of our eclipse glass film and all of that stuff. So it's a little bit of an ordeal, but you don't want to make it a bigger ordeal or an emergency for yourself if you plan to see even partial phases of the eclipse. If you're not going to go see totality, but we all recommend, of course, that you do.
Yes.
The eclipse in its partial phases will be visible all over the United States, coast to coast. Okay, so it's going to be exciting. If you can't go to be on the center line somewhere for whatever reason, you're going to want to at least see the partial phases, and you do need eclipse glasses for that.
So, Scott, what Scott's talking about and why the 6 weeks early, Amazon discovered that some of the eclipse glasses they had been selling were being sold by unscrupulous profiteers, and they really weren't solar safe film. And
Right.
unable to identify which was which, they recalled every solar glass pair that they had, and that created chaos and fear and concern. And just buying the lowest bidder off of any website for eclipse glasses, you want to protect your vision, and you want to buy from a reputable source. And somebody selling them on whichever marketplace you're on is not necessarily a reputable source. And that's why we say get them now. You know what you're getting, and they're going to protect your vision. Because look, you don't get a new Mark 1R and a Mark 1L. You ruin your vision with some low cost vendor.
Mark 1, Kent, a lot of people don't know what that means.
The Mark 1R eyeball and the Mark 1L eyeball. You don't get new eyeballs.
Or the Mark 1s.
so we took a couple of test shots today of the sun.
Careful here, Paul.
What?
Yeah, we're just testing film for certification. You want to show? Can you show them?
I can if you want. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to.
Go ahead.
I don't know. I was trying to help.
There we go.
We just
I don't see them.
Yeah, you got some sunspots. It's
There it
always a
is.
challenge to get focus. There it is. Yeah. Always a really nice looking image right there. And any image you get of the sun, there's always a couple sunspots right there, and you always have to do some manipulation of the sun because you get that hot spot right in the middle because it's hot in the center because you're getting so much light coming straight into the camera sensor, and as you get to the edge, it gets limb darkening until you get to the very edge, and there's this orange ring around. So there's manipulation efforts on how to fine tune those. Yeah.
This is how small it was on the sensor.
Yeah, so you just took your Sony camera, held it up to a piece of film and shot through it, right?
Yeah, handheld.
Yeah. Yep. So, having done this at the eclipse in 2017, I, experimented a couple of days early and said, okay, that's going to work. I got up to Casper, Wyoming, and had to fiddle with the camera and worry about exposures, and I didn't get to enjoy the eclipse. So this year, these eclipses, I'm going to work my systems out ahead of time. I'm going to plan things critically and set timers and have intervalometers because I want to be able to sit and enjoy it and not worry about running a camera.
That's right.
So that's I made that mistake once. I'm not going to
come unglued and come apart and just cursing during the entire eclipse, and they're not enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a miraculous, beautiful thing to see with your own eyes. I mean, once you're done with the partial phases, to be able to look at the total eclipse. Now we're going to have two different kinds of eclipses. And 2023 will
Right.
be annular, okay, which will look like this ring of fire. This kind of eclipse, you have to use eclipse glasses or safe solar filters over your telescope the entire time, okay? Because it's the moon in its eccentric orbit is now covered. Its far point covering the sun, but not completely covering it. It makes a ring of light, which is, really cool to see, and actually gives some eclipse chasers really enjoy these because you can see a different aspect of Bailey's beads. And Bailey's beads occur when the moon gets right to the edge of the sun, and the shafts of light that come through the edge, through the mountains and stuff like
Through
that.
mountains.
These beads, they're beautiful to
Yeah.
see. And a guy named Bailey is the guy that discovered this effect.
Described them.
Yeah.
So on the annular eclipse, the closer you are to the center line, the more centered up the moon will be at totality. So you'll get this big ring of sun, and then a moon in the middle of it, completely blocking it out. It's too close to us, so it can't block the full sun. And if you're off the center line, it's going to be offset. But if you're right on the center line, it's going to be a perfect concentric circle. And Scott, where we're going in October of 2023 down to a place north of Uvalde, Texas, where we're having a star party that you can register for now. You're going to be about 600 yards off the center line, which is going to be effectively a perfect circle for their annular eclipse. I am really looking forward to seeing my first annular eclipse in totality. It's going to be very cool. So anyway, last week on First Light Chronicles, when Tyler jumped in, I had pictures that I took and I don't do a lot of astrophotography. I literally took a 10 or 12-year-old Canon camera, put it on a tripod, pointed up at the sky and said, I'm just going to shoot an ISO 2000 at f4.5 for 15 seconds. And 15 seconds determined using the rule of 500. Take the number 500 and divide it by the focal length of your lens, and which is a 35 millimeter lens. And so that yielded 14 seconds. I just went 15 because why not, right? And just started shooting. Didn't adjust, didn't do anything else. Just let the intervalometer just take pictures. And here is a picture I got. Let's see, do we have it up, Paul? Have I frozen here?
I didn't know you were supposed to share it.
Is it shared?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. So this is the picture that I got. One of them. I took hundreds of these. I just picked one. And, if you know your constellations, right here is Cassiopeia. Looks like a W in the sky. And, this is what sort of a light polluted sky looks like. You can see some of the constellations. Right here is Andromeda, right? So this is the Great Square of Pegasus. I almost got the entire Great Square in. So here's Andromeda. It looks like sort of a V that comes down here. You go to the second set of double stars, measure this distance, and right there is the Andromeda Galaxy. And you can't see it in this picture. And over here is the double cluster. You can't see it either. And when you look at this picture, you think, boy, I sure didn't capture very much. But then you go into, in this case, Lightroom, and this is what it turns into. Just totally amazing that you can manipulate that into that. Right there's Andromeda Galaxy. Here's the double cluster right here. The constellations sort of disappear. It's hard to see the Great Square. It's hard to pick out And this is sort of what it looks like up in the Sand Hills of Nebraska. This light down here on these vehicles is coming from red lights and maybe a camera back, but there's a lot of light coming from the stars of the Milky Way. And Scott, you've experienced this. You can stand facing south and hold, if you have a light shirt on like I do now, and hold your hand in front of you, you can see your shadow from the light of the Milky Way. You can see the shadow on light ground if you want to. Mm-hmm. So if you look right here, Paul just scoots, there's a little satellite right here that I captured in that 15 seconds. So there's a lot of noise.
Coming out of the tree.
Yes, that little satellite right there. Yeah. So move it up, Paul. Can you go straight up?
Kent, it's on you. You do it, not me.
I just did that? Oh, I didn't know. There's the Andromeda Galaxy right there. And it comes way out here. It covers 6 diameters of the full moon, and the double cluster is right over here. So now how am I going to unzoom? There we go. Zoom them back out. Okay, so that's that picture of the northern Milky Way. And at some point I just picked the camera up, turned it around, and framed it up to the south. And, this is what a lot of people see. They can see the teapot asterism of Sagittarius, because Sagittarius comes down over here like this. But you can see that looks like a teapot. The water would go right in here. Here's the vessel. And over here's the handle, right? There's the top. And here's the spout where it would come out. So, you got some other constellations. You can divide. Ophiuchus is over here. You start seeing some Scorpius over here. And you manipulate this just a little bit, and you end up with that. I didn't get the same picture, but it's the same effect, right? I couldn't identify which picture this one was, but it's the same effect, right? And Sagittarius almost starts disappearing in here, and you have to really look to find it. But here's all these things up through the Milky Way. You've got M5, M6, the wild duck cluster. There's all sorts of M objects in this picture that I went through and picked out in them. And it's just to look at the difference. And this is one frame for 15 seconds. From here, it doesn't look like much, but a little bit of manipulation, and there you go. You've got a great start of the southern Milky Way. Take 3 or 4 of these and process them and then stack them up. Would be interesting to see what more detail I can get out of it, as well as Norm Hughes. Is that a single or stacked image? Norm, that's one image. Both of these are simple. One image that I've manipulated in Lightroom. Didn't do anything fancy. I just played around with the sliders. And if you look right here, I see it right
so
there.
Dark out there. It's so easy to get a beautiful Milky Way shot.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. That right there is a hot pixel, I believe. It's going to be a pixel on the sensor that's always going to be red. So you have to subtract that out. But I'm, something, for just, because there were so many people asking me questions, I just couldn't go test anything. So literally, I just turned it on and literally forgot it. I intended to go ahead and put the lens cap on and take some dark frames so I could subtract out the hot pixels and the pattern that comes from the sensor, the lines that are in the sensor. I think if I stack these up, I think I'm going to get more nebulosity, but I'm also going to get more of those lines show up. And I did manipulate it enough to where you can see the amp go. The amp is the amplifier. So anyway, Scott, that's that.
It's cool.
I was pretty happy with it. You zoom in a little bit more.
Yeah, it's thrilling to get a shot like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and you can start getting your M objects out. And I don't have these.
And how many times have you tried to photograph the Milky Way before?
It defined the time period. The past 20 years, once, last week. In the past, okay.
Okay, so I would definitely class you as a beginning Milky Way.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Right, and so
I did
to get a shot like that.
I
mean, it's nice. It's really nice, So
I know. Yeah, Norm, you said you can still take darks. They're non-specific. I'm going to do that to see just what I can do with this.
Sure.
It's got some it's got some artifacts from manipulation and stuff. But you know, the stars are not oblong. I mean, the lens is a pretty darn good lens on that Canon camera. That's an old product count shot camera we have here.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed that you go out to the. Let's see if we can move over here to the corners. I mean, that's the corner, Scott, and there's a little bit of oblong, you know, a little bit of coma, but it's not terrible. You know, all the way across the image, it's not terrible coma in this lens. And there was a cloud bank that hung around, so I didn't get this lower part.
This is a camera lens, I guess. Is that right? Not a telescope.
It's a Canon. It's a Canon 35 to 70 zoom Canon camera lens.
Sure. Sure.
So thank you, Beatrice. I appreciate that.
Zoom lenses are usually optimized either in the middle. I'm talking about optically optimized, either in the middle or on one end or the other of the range. And the only way to find out is to do test shots of the sky. And the sky is the best thing to actually do this with. Even if you're doing land photography or regular, you know, landscape photography, photographing the stars, because they are true pinpoints of light, will show you how to get the sharpest settings for that lens. So you may be, if it was between a 35 and a 200 or whatever, maybe 86 millimeters focal length is where the sweet spot is. And so you can do that and then go pixel peep until you're seeing, okay, that zoom range is the best for me. You know, if you're looking to use your lens at its sharpest ever potential, you know. Then the other thing to do is to, once you found that sweet spot, is to try stopping it down manually. You know, get rid of all the automatic features, stop down manually, and you will find an f-stop point on that particular lens at a particular, if it's a zoom, at a particular focal length, and find its best possible optical, you know, configuration. And that, you know, knowing your lens like that can lend itself to you getting incredibly sharp landscape shots or portraits, those kinds of things.
Scott, looking at this picture, I realized I cropped this picture. I cropped a little bit, a couple of inches off of each edge to get rid of the comb, the coma that was there. So
there's no crime in that.
Yeah. No, there's no
but
crime.
It is really beautiful.
I'm thinking about what I did.
Yeah.
And this is, Scott, seriously, okay, I said one time in 20 years, back in the early 2000s when I was going to the Nebraska Star Party 3 or 4 times. So it's probably been my second or third attempt in 20 years. Now, back in the film days, I tried it a lot and never got anything that looked like this, right? I think it's a miracle of digital photography and sensors and the
well, you still
modern cameras.
Have to know some things of what you're doing, and so, you know, we're lucky to be here at Explore Scientific because we get submissions all the time, you know, and we can look at, you know, exposure times and ISO settings and that kind of thing, and so you know, we get a little bit of that kind of benefit, and we do know kind of what we're doing in that regard.
You know, I've been saying, here's how you do it, and I took my own advice. I literally did exactly what I've been saying, and I was either going to prove myself right or prove myself wrong, and I'm happy to say, you know, and what was said that I got lucky. You know, I'm pure blind, dumb, beginner's luck.
I don't think that's luck. You know, that's not luck.
I made my own luck. How about that? So
there you go.
Anyway, you can do this right out of the camera. It doesn't look like much, but boy, a little bit of manipulation goes a long way. And, you know, it was really weird because I was looking at other people's cameras, and on the visual back in their tests, when you look at them on the camera, you could see the southern Milky Way there. And the few tests I did, I was like, boy, maybe I need to jack my ISO up. I was worried about that older camera really being affected. And Paul, you go ahead and quit sharing the screen now. Thank you. So, Paul.
Hang on.
Okay. Didn't know if you were over there or not. So we, you know, I was worried that I wasn't getting anything. But I was like, I got so many people come around looking at the binocular telescopes and talking about our products that I literally forgot about the camera being there. And I was packing up, and I heard it clicking through, the intervalometer clicking through. And I went, oh, wait a minute. I got my camera over there. And so looked at him and went, well, I got nothing. And got back here, and bingo, here we go. So it does work. I'm Norm, I'm gonna work on the stacked image sometime this week or next week, and maybe have some future processing to incorporate some dark frames and see how that happens, and show the progress of work over a couple of shows just to show it. It would take a whole lot of manipulation to create this into a time-lapse sequence, because it did take like 400 of these, but every single one's gonna have to be processed. I may try and figure out how to batch process in Lightroom and say, take this manipulation routine and do it to every single photo. And if I can do that, then we might be able to get a shot of Milky Way transiting across the sky. So anyway, that's that. Scott, I also want to talk about our Sugar Creek Astronomical Society,
Sure.
the local astronomy club meeting last night. We meet the second Tuesday of every month, and we had two new members join last month. We had a couple of new families, couples, and all of them were talking about, man, how do you find stuff up in the sky? And a planisphere obviously is a great tool to use. You don't have to have any electricity; you just have to use it. And we do have a video that shows how to use a planisphere. Paul, I don't know if you could show that on this format or not. We can show that, but I said get a planisphere and just look at it and look in the sky. And if you can find, say, the Big Dipper, find the Big Dipper on your planisphere, and then look at it and find a nearby constellation and go find it. And worry about only finding 4 or 5 constellations tonight. And then tomorrow night, go out and try and find them again. And keep doing that until you can find those 5 constellations, and then move next door. So think about moving, the 5 houses on your block, and then go find the constellations next door, and keep working through the night sky until you learn constellations. And as you're learning those constellations, you can be looking up the Messier objects that are in the sky there, or which are Messier objects, or things that a guy named Charles Messier in the 1700s knew weren't comets because they didn't move, and he has a list of 110. They're all beautiful, fantastic things. The less light pollution you have, the better off you are. Mike Wiesner says Lightroom can copy image adjustments to many other images. I suspected it could, Mike, and it will also stack. I just have to figure out how to do that, and then apply that. So Paul says he's the Lightroom guru, so we may have Paul show us how to do that, and we might have a movie next week.
It's not
them
difficult
rising
at all to do that in Lightroom.
Like anything else, if you don't know how to do it, it's extremely difficult. So, going to work on that anyway. So, my advice to anybody wanting to get out and get involved in astronomy is to find a club of like-minded people. And if you live in an area where there's not an astronomy club, go on social media and say, hey, with a picture of your telescope, I want to learn how to do astronomy. Is there anybody in my town who does it? I'd love to connect with you. And I guarantee you there's somebody in your town who's going out every clear night that they can, and they're doing astronomy. They're looking at the stars. They're taking astrophotography pictures. They're doing deep sky objects with a big telescope. They're doing Milky Way shots like I was showing you, but they're out there doing something. And it's so much easier to do something, even if it's with a person who's at the same skill level you are. It still makes it easier because you have somebody to talk to and talk problems through and come up with solutions. And finding a mentor is the way to go. They're out there. You just have to find them. And if you're lucky enough to have an astronomy club in your neighborhood, absolutely go to it. Scott, one of the couples drove over from Eureka Springs, and they said they put it on their calendar for the next year, and we'll be here for there. They seem 100% committed to coming. So it's the club is growing because more and more people are finding out. Scott, your mic's off. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Your mic is off, huh?
Okay.
No.
Wait. No, it's not. I just couldn't hear you. Wade Parenti. I imaged in Bortle 2 for the first time this past weekend. It was awesome. Wade lives in Dallas-Fort Worth off the end of the DFW runway and has to deal with probably
Hi there.
Am I on again?
There you go.
That was weird. I think that's why Scott didn't think Scott was couldn't hear him.
So you guys hear
Wade,
me now? Are you hearing me or not?
Yes.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, we just had a glitch
Okay.
there for a
We
minute.
can hear everything.
One of the
This-
things I wanted to interject and just make a recommendation: if you don't have an astronomy club, start one. Start one.
Absolutely.
So it only
and-
takes two people to start a club.
And
that's
just
how I started
put it
my
out there on
first
social
club, and
media.
it grew to 600 members. So it's
So how do you start a club? You put it out there on social media and say, hey, if you have a community page, the Friends of Fond du Lac or living in Springdale, Arkansas, whatever, go on that page and post that you want to start it, that you're looking for people who are interested in astronomy and want to join a club. And you don't have to incorporate, you don't have to have bylaws. You just start getting together and start doing astronomy, have a meeting, or just get together and do observations. But it's good to have a meeting once a month to get together and try and get organized and plan things and just grow it, organically. Just start that way and, then get a set of bylaws and guidelines. It's nothing legal about it you have to follow, but you try and follow a form. And, and I can tell you, outreach is a great way to build a club because you set a telescope up somewhere and people are going to walk up. And when they do, you can start talking about your astronomy club. And there's all sorts of resources out there through the Astronomical League, a great organization that once your club gets up and running, absolutely the club can join the Astronomical League. All your members can join. You can join the Astronomical League right now as a member at large. You don't have to wait to have a club to go start. And you get access to a lot of great information and things like that. So outreach I truly enjoy. It's a very pleasurable to let other people see. Yeah.
That's the juice.
Yeah.
That's the juice.
So anyway, that's what I've got on my agenda for today, Scott. Anything else you want to talk about?
I do want to say that we're going to have the 101st Global Star Party tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Central Time is when we kick off, and the theme is Unfolding Universe. And so you can take that metaphorically or literally, but with new telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope, obviously, and its unfurling of its solar shields, and the whole telescope unfolding, and the new images and stuff that we're getting back from it. Just as an armchair astronomer, it's just mind blowing what we're learning from that instrument. And if you're a research astronomer, it's just that much more information to gather up. And so, but we are, that is just the first of a series of telescopes that is going up there. We have the Roman telescope that's going up as well. We have Hubble Space Telescope is still churning out images and doing remarkable cutting edge work. And we have super giant land-based telescopes too, and so some people wonder, well, if we got these amazing space telescopes, why do we need these giant land-based telescopes? Well, you can spend a lot more time with a land-based telescope on an object than you can with a space-based telescope. They're going through all the requests for time on the JWEST. They're still doing tons of requests for time on Hubble Space Telescope, and so it is if you're lucky enough as a professional or even as an amateur, there's some amateur openings for space-based telescope access. You can compete with the pros out there. If you get a window of opportunity, you get it, and they, you collect the data and it's done. And with the land-based telescope, even professional ones, they are limited by time schedules too. But you've got more time. You can spend more time looking at an object. And then if you happen to be lucky enough to be an amateur astronomer that understands what they're doing, you've got all the time that in the world, because all you need is clear sky and it's your instrument. And so amateur astronomers get involved in pro-am projects because they can contribute tons of data, that pros just can't get otherwise. But it is the golden age of astronomy, and you're lucky to be living in it. And so, Ken, if this is kind of a wrap up here, I would say I would wrap up by doing what Jack Horkheimer always said, and that is to keep looking up. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, Scott. Everybody have a great Friday or Wednesday evening. See you tomorrow for On the Wing. Thanks, Scott, for joining me. See y'all.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And Global Star Party too. 101st.
Global Star Party.
Yep. Take care.